Now we're on to the second act of Trial, Mindwarp, which is an insanely 80s sounding title. I don't know, it just sounds really cheesy. Mindwarp itself is usually considered the best story out of the whole thing, and that's kind of correct from now I've seen all of it. Mindwarp is very, very dark. You know what I mentioned with Horror of Glam Rock, how the title screams something? Instantly, Mindwarp does not scream how dark this thing ends up being. It's very looming, insane. I'm sorry if I'm mumbling here. It's just tough to explain because there's a lot here, yet it's odd. But basically, I'm gonna say so much tonight. Okay, so this was written by Philip Martin. Philip Martin did Vengeance on Varos, which I did a review of. I liked it. Mindwarp, I officially think, is much, much better. If anything, they're about the same level. Really, there's this dark tone to it, an interesting direction that I haven't seen Doctor Who do too much yet. It has a mixture of great actors and some not so good ones, but the not so good ones I didn't even bother to remember, so I'm not even going to really mention them. It has Syl again. I have a fondness for Syl. I'm not going to say I love him. I can see how many people consider him the Jar Jar Binks of Doctor Who. But I just like him. He's really slimy, disgusting, but insanely watchable. It's very rare for a character to be that way. And also, I forgot to mention, because I didn't actually know this when I watched it, the actor, Neil Shaban or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't remember. He is, you saw one of the pictures, and one of the pictures will be here. Notice how weird he looks. He was physically deformed. His legs are very tiny, and his arms are a little longer, and he's kind of, for lack of a better term, a different looking kind of guy. And he's very, very alien, so it kind of lends to the makeup more of the alien appearance. And it works a little bit more because we'll see we meet his species, the Mentors, more specifically this one named Kiv, who's dying and wants a new body, wants to transfer his mind to a new body. Hence, part of the reason why it's called Mindwarp. And it's kind of, you can tell that it's a regular guy in that makeup as opposed to Syl, who and the guy's having a ton of fun with the performance as he did in his first appearance, but he just looks a lot more alien. It's just that his body type lends more to it. That's a weird tangent to make, but I just want to bring that up because, if anything, I like the actor, and he's having a hell of a fun time. I just don't think this character is obviously supposed to be for the kids. Kiv himself was interesting enough villain, very kind of standard dark, but I liked him, and I liked the idea that he would maybe even take over the Doctor, or, spoiler, he does to Perry at the end, which is dark. Let's see, what else is worth bringing up? I like I brought this up with Mysterious Planet, but that one was them looking at a story in the past. This one's a cool twist. They're looking at something that's happening in the present right now. In fact, this was what the Doctor was doing right before he got swooped up and pulled into the trial. And you find out that because of that, he couldn't save Perry, and in this story, Perry dies. And I have to say, even though I knew it was coming, damn, it was dark. And this wasn't like a case with another famous death, which we're going to review sometime this week. It might be coming soon, I'm not sure yet. Where that was just the death of a companion. It wasn't the fact that that companion died, it was the fact that a companion at all died. And there's some of the power's taken away from it, but yet it's not because you care about the character, it's because someone died. Barely anyone ever dies in Doctor Who. more particularly companions, and yes, you could make your arguments over who considers what, and I'm not getting into any Sarah Kingdom arguments, but here, I cared about Perry dying, especially after Colin Baker acts like he got shot through one of the 2 hearts he has. God, so well done, so molto bene. That's probably not even the way you're supposed to say that. I am not versed in Italian, in any kind of Italian language. But God, that was dark. I know I'm kind of shifting here, but that part was really, really gut-wrenching. Performances. Let's move to performances. Syl was nice. Kiv was, again, standard villain. Big one I need to bring up. Brian Blessed. That's the loudest I can get. Someone's upstairs and I don't want to wake him up. Gordon's alive. That guy from Flash Gordon. Who's a very good actor. In this, he's great. But he's straight up acting like a 60s Batman villain and having all the fun in the world. And I liked him as King Yurkonos, I think is what he was going by. He's just kind of a big, loud, space king who's a warrior, and that's perfect for a guy like Brian Blessed. He can deliver that amount of camp, but you don't care. It's just so much fun. I found it kind of interesting that he wanted Perry to be his wife. It's just hilarious. You just see giant, booming, insane Brian Blessed, King Yurkonos, with calm, little, afraid, meek Perry, who's only contributed to the show up to this point was crying and screaming and being the butt joke of a lot of rapes, particularly me. High picture of Perry. And the weird thing is, they make rape jokes in this. Or it's either in this or maybe in Mysterious Planet, but I'm pretty sure it was in this. They knew that was a problem, and I'll admit, I'm glad they saw it. It seemed like a very stupid go-to move. The more and more I was seeing it, in fact, that's why I kept making the Perry rape joke. Because they make it themselves, and unintentionally, now they intentionally make it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate they weren't morons. Granted, what we're going to have to cover next story is impossibly stupid, but what do I know? Perry herself, again, Nicola Bryant, was good, decent actress. She played Fearful very well, as she kind of used to do. As soon as she got taken over by Kiv, that was freaky, because she's just, I don't know, somehow, it's just like, oh god, that's terrifying. She's possessed by this insane monster. And then Brian Blessed kills her, which I think adds into the shock, because beforehand, she was legitimately kind of terrifying. What's the best term? No Perry. There's no Perry. It's obvious this entity took over and made her look crazy, and that was great. Colin Baker himself in this is, oh god, he's as awesome as Brian Blessed in this, because a big part of the story is he gets his mind warped. Laugh at that all you want. And he's acting insane, and it's true, because I've heard some people say he would have been a great master. I can see that, as long as they gave him a more dignified haircut. You cannot be afraid of someone in that haircut. That's one of the things I realized about Twin Dilemma finally is, yeah, someone who looks like him trying to murder someone is hilarious. It's like a drunk clown coming at you. But yeah, he's frightening in this. At least, when you're about 100% sure that's him that's him under mind control, because it gets really confusing. At some point, the Doctor is apparently free of it, but is pretending to trick them, and you can't tell what's going on. And apparently a big problem with this was no one knew. Like, Colin himself didn't know. He was like, am I actually crazy, or am I pretending to be crazy? Great to him. He wants to know what the hell his own character's thinking. Point. And he went to the writer and he said, "Oh, the script editor changed it." Then he went to the script editor and said, "Oh yeah, the writer changed it." And so he just had to kind of wing it, and you could tell it's just very jarring. It's confusing because you want to know what's going on too, and don't say, "Oh, that leads to the mystery." I want it to be a little bit more clear because you could just write anything off, and it's just kind of insane. What else? Oh, I love the visual. There's this nice little visual thing that they don't use too much because they're mostly underground, but when on the surface of this planet, they did this nice effect where they changed the color of the sea to kind of purple and the sun, and that just looks really nice. They're subtle and that effect's very subtle and really effective. It's makes it look very alien, and personally, I think it's very beautiful. Uh, the trial stuff works really well because I think it's because this is happening. That's what made it like tie together better. Because the thing I had an issue more and more I think about it with Mysterious Planet is the trial stuff was very jarring, and Vervoid's big spoiler is a lot the same. In fact, the Vervoid plot you can watch without the trial stuff. The trial stuff in a way is very centric because that's a big part of the conclusion at least, and it ties in a hell of a lot better. Phil Martin definitely had at least a better idea of what the hell they were supposed to do, and I appreciate that full-heartedly. Yeah, this is just a really this is the greatest story of this season, and I'm gonna say it, best Colin Baker season, like out of the television stories, because I've listened to a fair amount of audio dramas that are insanely good and blow this out of the water because they're again some weak performances. They're mostly side characters, but you still don't care. But yeah, if anything, the conclusion to this is great. And the next story ruins it in a weird way because, there's dark momentum, cool, silly adventure with plant monsters and a murder mystery. Yeah, this season's really stupid by that point. But yeah, Mindwarp, I don't know if I can say you can watch it on your own. But I'll definitely throw it to the Trial of Time Lords good so far. Mysterious Planet was good. This was great. And we'll see what the other two are completely like to see if it adds up to a good whole story in the end. See ya.